Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Diamond Cooper Show, coming to you live over the airways of YouTube from my hometown of Washington, D.C. I want to express my gratitude to those who have liked and subscribed. And if you're just joining the show, make sure you hit that like, that subscribe button, support your boy, and I'm going to keep it coming. Great day today. I hope y'all had a great day. Hope y'all got peace and love going on in your family, with your people, and you're prospering out here. You know, I'm going to get this an NFL day. We got NFL tonight. And before I get into the NFL topics that I'm going to get into, I'm going to give y'all the jewel for tonight because it's already 7:30 and the game starts in about 45 minutes. So we got the New York Jets at the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns rolling. Joe Flacco, part of the year, the backup quarterback thing that's going on in the NFL. And he been slinging it, gunslinging out there, 10 touchdowns passing. The Jets got 10 touchdowns passing all year. Cleveland, the last offense in the NFL, number 32. 32 teams, they number 32. Offense, trash. Cleveland got the number one defense. When Aaron Rodgers got hurt earlier this year, it was reported that Joe Flacco and his agent reached out to the Jets. He played for them last year, was a backup. They turned him down. Now he gets a chance to play them in Cleveland, dog pound. Jets got the number 3 defense, but I think they're gonna get a little bit overwhelmed because their offense not going to be able to produce, against that Cleveland Browns defense with Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward and company. I think it's gonna get ugly. Take the Cleveland Browns tonight. Got to give you the jewel early because the game starts in a little bit. And I don't know if you got to drive to where you got to go to put your bet in, or you got the app for the MGM Caesars, FanDuel, whatever you want, DraftKings. Get it in. Cleveland Browns. That's the jewel. Now to the first segment of the show. For real. Do y'all remember Antonio Brown, former wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Then Tom Brady got him to come to New England, let him stay at the crib with him for a minute. Then also Tom Brady got him in Tampa Bay with him when Tom Brady left New England and won a ring. So he got him a ring. Then we went to the Raiders. All they had to do was just chill until Monday. And on a Friday, came out with a post, a recorded conversation between him and the head coach at the time, John Gruden. He would have got $29 million. Instead of getting the check first, he did that. Then he put a video. He was on the phone, and he started running, saying he was free. The second year with Tampa Bay, walked off the field. Y'all know who I'm talking about? If you watch football, Antonio Brown had one of the best 6-year runs in NFL history when he was with Pittsburgh. Over 140 catches twice, over 1,000 yards almost every year, double-digit touchdowns most of the time. Antonio Brown was definitely top tier when it comes to wide receivers when he was in the league. But the reason that he's in the for real segment, Michael Irvin, Hall of Fame wide receiver, Dallas Cowboys, 3-time champion. He comes out and has a Mount Rushmore wide receivers. So when he's giving his input on his Mount Rushmore, Antonio Brown was excluded. For some reason, he took offense to this. Now, I do recall Tyreek Hill including Antonio Brown in his top 4, his Mount Rushmore. All respect, everybody got a right to their own opinion. But Antonio Brown threatened Michael Irvin, talking about him and his goons going to come and do, and that's not verbatim, but like him and his people, they going to be about that work when they see him. Really, bro? For real? It's nobody's fault but yours that you out of the league, bro. Your behavior on and off the field cost you your career. You probably could still be playing, bro. And you're going to threaten the Hall of Famer, and then in the midst of threatening the Hall of Fame wide receiver who on television as an analyst critiquing, and his top 4 was Drew Pearson, Jerry Rice, himself, and Tyreek Hill for different reasons. Everybody entitled to their own opinion. So because you left out, or because he didn't agree with Tyreek's list that you was on Mount Rushmore before, I've never heard him say anything derogatory about him. And then in the midst of it, you're gonna say, man, I'm just trying to be on some positive stuff, man. How? You're gonna threaten somebody, but you're trying to be on something positive. Come on, bro. The last memory of everybody of you is you walking off the field when you was with Tampa Bay, taking your shirt off, doing the peace sign to the crowd and all that while you was running off, and that's the last image that people see you on the field. How about changing and then showing the youngsters that even when you have meltdowns and you bow out like that and you lose your career like that, that it's a way that you can bounce back. Instead of threatening people that's on TV, that's Hall of Famers. They wearing the yellow jackets. Something you should have if you ain't do what you did to yourself, bro. Teach the youngsters how to overcome. Be one of those rejuvenation stories, man. You know, one of those stories that people could look at and like this, man, he turned that thing around. Now look at him. Don't be out here threatening people, man. You ain't trying to really do that because you got a lot to lose too. You don't want no work for real. That's why you saying it online. People who want work don't say they want work online. He got the credentials to talk about what he talking about. He didn't do what you did to your career. Choose peace, brother. Let that shit go because you're not going to do nothing. Let it go. A lot of quarterbacks getting benched, man. And the year the quarterback, so many different styles of quarterback. It was 58 last week. I don't know what it is now. But Sam Howell, he going to the bench now. Jacoby Brissett going to start for the Washington Commanders. They got San Francisco coming to town this week. Don't really know how much of a difference it's going to make. San Francisco coming off that ass whooping this week. You know, Brock Purdy hearing the criticism and stuff because of the 4 interceptions. You know, but the one that's kind of wild is the reasoning behind why they bench Russell Wilson. You look at his, they benching him for Jarrett Stidham, you know, which is the quarterback they picked up. Familiar with him. He was in New England, backup. Now he there in Denver. Sean Payton, he was one of the first free agents that they got when he got there. Russell Wilson has a clause that kicks in on the 5th business day of March in 2024. And if he can't pass that physical, he's guaranteed $37 million. He's already guaranteed $39 million for next year. That's automatic. So it's reported that some weeks ago, after they beat Kansas City, they wanted him to waive the injury clause in there so that they didn't have to pay him. He didn't do it. So now they benching him. So he can't get injured and they don't have to pay him the extra $37 million. What does that sound like? What does that sound like to y'all? Sound like Russell Wilson is not going to be a Denver Bronco after this year. He's going to get $39 million just to walk. Hey, I'd take $39,000 to walk right now. He get $39 million, and if don't nobody pick him up, he's still getting $39 million next year. But it's crazy how the business is and how it goes because they played their way into playoff contention. Right now, they tied with Las Vegas at 7-8, but it's 5 teams in front of them at 8-7, so they only 1 game out. Which is crazy that you bench him at the end of the year when he's not having a terrible year, completing 66% of his passes, 3,070 yards, 26 touchdowns, which is 6th in the NFL, by the way, 8 interceptions. His QBR is 21st, but he got a 98 quarterback rating. That's top 8. Sean Payton didn't want him no more. He got tired. That's why he didn't cuss him out, cover time on the sideline. But the big picture, they paid all that money to get him. They traded 3 players 5 draft picks. Crazy. 3 players, 5 draft picks. Didn't pan out. He's not having a horrible year. 6 in the league, 26 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions, 66% completion percentage, and Denver is in the playoff hunt. They like, forget the playoffs, forget all that. We're going to sit Russ to make sure he don't get hurt, so we ain't got to give him no extra 37 million. We're going to give him 39, man. Tell him, get the hell on up out of here, man. You got to go, man. We tired of Russ Inc. and all that shit, like all these old company lines and, you know, let's ride and all this other shit. It's time to go, man. Sean Payton want to get his players in there. I never thought the day was going to work anyway because Sean Payton like an old school dude and Russell wanted to be catered to based on what the players said about him, you know. They played with him. I didn't. I don't know, man. You got to understand something, man. It's a business too. And even though Russell Wilson, like a lot of people would have said he had a Hall of Fame career, but what's going on since he got to Denver, and then Geno Smith had a better year than he had the year before at Seattle in the same system, that don't really make it look good. And then now when he's not playing horrible, you get benched just because they just want to go in a different direction and they trying to cut how much money they got to pay you, man. It's a dirty business, man. I mean, like, he's 6 in the league with 26 touchdown passes. There's a few quarterbacks with 26, but the Jets got 10 touchdown passes as a team. Joe Flacco got 10. He only played 4 games. They just like doing Russ dirty, man. But it's a business. And they in the playoff hunt. That's crazy. Like, you don't get the playoffs, get the extra check, Sean Payton. You're going to get more money, too. I don't get it, man. Jair Alexander, the cornerback, stud cornerback, too. Top 10 in the NFL for the Green Bay Packers. I don't know if y'all know, if y'all saw it or not, but when they was at Carolina this weekend, he from Charlotte, so he elected himself as a captain, like without telling the coaches or anything. And he went out and he almost messed up the coin toss because when you do the coin toss, first of all, they elect 3 captains before the game. So the coach talked to those 3 captains. They know who is going to speak at the coin toss, what they're going to call, and if they win the toss, what they want to do. They want to defer, meaning defer the ball to the other team and then you get the ball in the second half, or they want to receive. And what he said was, we want our defense out there. And he almost messed up the toss because the ref asked him, you mean defer? And then he was like, yeah, but he almost messed it up. Even though he got the call right. He called tails and it was tails. So the coaches didn't know that he did that. They suspended him for a game. Green Bay is in the playoff hunt. They 1 game out. And now they suspended him for a game. Now, okay, you want to, as an organization, all right, he did that. Coach might not have known that he was from Charlotte. You know, most of the players said that. Most of the players that play in the NFL say that, you know, sometimes if you from a city and they go there, they'll let you be an honorary captain or whatever. Well, he just went out that joint by himself, and he did all the talking because he was from there. He was like, the players was cool with it, and I haven't heard any players have no problem with it. And former players also say they wouldn't have a problem with it, you know. But it's just funny because, like, I wonder what the coach, how he was looking when he seen him walking out there. He know he ain't a captain. Like, what is you doing, man? But a whole game, though, y'all ain't got to suspend him a whole game. Come on now. Like, this is the first series. You know, all right, he don't start. After that, you know, he get to come in there and play. Because this is a big game for y'all. Y'all need to win this game to stay in this playoff hunt, man. These penalties, all these roughing the passes, and these extra suspensions, like, it seems like the league is getting solved and solved, and they punishing you for stuff that's is not really that serious, man. These are the premier players. We need to see them on the field. You know what I'm saying? And this wasn't even the NFL who suspended them. This was the Packers. A little bit extreme, if you ask me. After 27 years, Jerry Jones finally putting Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor. About damn time. That's how it's been that long since it was the dynasty. He's supposed to been one up in there, but I'm happy, man, that some of the greats that was there, Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, Darren Woodson, and Charles Haley going to be there Saturday because he going to the Ring of Honor at halftime, I believe, of the game against the Detroit Lions on Saturday. So I want to, man, congratulate Jimmy Johnson because when I was growing up watching the Cowboys and I was a fan, you brought us home, baby. And then Barry Switzer won with your team after, you and Jerry parted ways, and then you wound up going to Miami afterwards. But I appreciate everything you did for the Cowboys because you was the last person that really helped me feel like a winner when I rooted for the Cowboys. Like when you was coaching us, like I expected to win. So congratulations to Jimmy Johnson going into the Ring of Honor in Jerry's World Saturday when we played the Detroit Lions. Long overdue. Should have been there. Salute Jimmy Johnson, man. You was the last winner we had as a coach, man. Bona fide winner. I haven't felt that in so long. I'm waiting, man. I'm just waiting just for little hope. Just show me something, I ain't had to worry about that with y'all. I knew we had a chance to win every time, even when we lost. And then when we lost, I was crushed because I expected to win. I don't even know what that feel like when we lose now. It's kind of become the norm. Thank you, Jimmy Johnson. Congratulations, man. Defensive Player of the Year, Micah Parsons was in the lead. I believe now TJ Watt took the lead. And it's unfortunate that TJ Watt doesn't get his just due, man. TJ Watt is the best defensive player in the NFL. Since he came into the league, he lead every category. Sacks, tackles for loss, interceptions, forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, defensive touchdowns. Everything. But nobody never talk about him. It's like everybody glorifies a whole bunch of people. And I'm thrown off by the fact that he only has one defensive player of the year. And his big brother, JJ, who got 3 defensive players of the years. He presented the award to him. It's ridiculous, man. Like TJ Watt deserves his flowers, man. And we got to stop being disrespectful to this man because when you look at their defense, whenever he hasn't played, Pittsburgh defense drops from inside the top 10 in defensive categories all the way to the bottom 5. Now, you tell me that's not impact. You go from being a top 5, top 7 defense, tops in sacks, tops in pass rushing, you up there, and then as soon as he out the game, you go from there to in the bottom 20s, 26, 27. That's impact this one. Even with all the other great players that they have, just him not being there, it changes that much. He has 17 sacks right now, leading the NFL. Again, on pace to get another 20 sack season. Something that his brother did. Man deserves his flowers, man. TJ Watt is the best player in the defense, the best defensive player, in the NFL, man. And we got to give him his love. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are in the hunt too, with Mason Rudolph. They were singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer songs for him at the Pittsburgh game last week. And they was trying to run him out of town a couple of years ago. Congrats to Mason Rudolph. They had a great day. They got to keep it up because they one of those teams that's tied to 8-7 in that playoff hunt. And we're going to see how they're going to do. Travis Kelce, man, had a lot to say about Kansas City struggles. Basically saying, man, it's not just one guy. And he was accountable, saying that he needed to do better. And he was like, everybody collectively had to do better in order for them to lock in and get in the championship mode. Now, we know that this is going to be the first time after their first game because they're probably going to win the division. So they had that game at Arrowhead Stadium. But after that, they're going to have to go on the road for the first time with Patrick Mahomes because, the last 5 AFC championship games was in Kansas City. So you can understand the leadership qualities in this man because he frustrated. Because since the Taylor Swift edition and being at the game and him doing his thing, and then all of a sudden it started fizzling out because teammates dropping passes, lining up off sides, messing up a play that probably would have been on the highlights forever if it would have counted. Frustrated, throwing his helmet, kirking. The dude trying to give the helmet back, Andy Reid, the coach, grabbed the helmet like, nah, hold on it. Nah, he don't get that yet. I got to holler at him first. Y'all know Andy Reid, old school, man, coming from that Mike Holmgren tree. When your leaders step up and they show you that they can be accountable and they can point the finger at themselves, it motivates you to do better. And hopefully, man, him being accountable just like his brother was when it came to the flag that, his brother Jason Kelce, the center for the Philadelphia Eagles, when he got the flag for moving the ball up last week, being accountable when your leaders see that, that make them want to play harder for you and play harder with you. You know what I'm saying? So it's frustrating because they ain't been making plays and defense is just bracketing them. So even though sometimes, Travis Mahomes said that sometimes he make them the route as he go, now they just sitting on either side of them. So wherever you go, somebody right there. And when Patrick going to the other dudes, they haven't been making the plays. But they do have championship pedigree. The majority of their roster was on the team last year when they made and won the Super Bowl. So we can't just count them out. But much love to Travis Kelce, man, for being a leader and being accountable, man, and taking the onus on himself and then letting everybody else know, man, I done messed up. We all done messed up. Now let's get this thing together so we can get ready for this home stretch. Barry Sanders, Detroit's best running back ever. Some people say the best running back ever. He definitely gave the most highlights ever at running back. I say him. Highlights him, O.J. Simpson had some hell of a highlights. Emmitt Smith definitely had some. But it was the 35th anniversary of his historic Holiday Bowl because it was the Holiday Bowl yesterday. And he ran for 222 yards and 5 touchdowns when he was at Oklahoma State in college. 35 years ago. When you get a chance, check out the highlights from that game. It was the Holiday Bowl 35 years ago. Barry Sanders, 222 and 5 Bajas. Ridiculous. And if you watched him in the NFL with the Detroit Lions, oh my God. It would look like he's stuck in the backfield. Dudes look like they got him and he'll bust a move and get out of there and break that jump 60. Like, Barry was crazy, but man, salute to Barry Sanders, man, celebrating 35 years. He's still alive and kicking. And now his Detroit Lions have clinched the division for the first time in 30 years when he was in the NFC Central, because that's what it was called back before the realignment in 2002. But this is their first NFC North division championship. So he get to go back there. I've been seeing Calvin Johnson there. They might have Matthew Stafford coming in the playoffs, and that'd be interesting. Remember the trade, Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford? Be interesting. I actually would like to see that. That'd be box office. We gave you the jewel for the day already. So before I close out, I'm going to mention Josh Allen, quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, because Bill Belichick made not necessarily a comparison, but he mentioned how he's seen the growth because he's played against Josh Allen in the division. Bill Belichick, the GOAT, the coach of New England Patriots. And he talked about how he's seen his growth and where he's at now and how it was similar to how Tom Brady, evolved. And he was like, once you get to that point, then now you're that man. And now you got it. And now it's going to be what you're going to be consistently. Josh Allen got 40 combined touchdowns this year. 27 passing, 13 rushing. It's a lot of touchdowns. It's not easy to get in the NFL. And yeah, they had their struggles, but they've had a lot of injuries, especially on defense. Actually, that's happened to them a couple of times in the last few years. And he is out there being Superman for these brothers. They are in games because of him. They win games because of him. Sometimes they lose because of him. But he does have a lot of turnovers, 17 to be exact. But you take the bitter with the sweet when you have a talent like that. And when Bill Belichick, the GOAT, gives you a reference and puts you in that category and says that they can see the evolution in you like they saw in who everybody basically considers to be the GOAT at quarterback. You know, if Josh heard, I know he heard it, you know, that raised expectations a little bit because that's some high praise, man. Because Bill Belichick, he only says it about a few, you know, Aaron Rodgers, he gave him flowers, you know, Peyton Manning back in the day, Drew Brees, you know, he's selective about who he give a little praise to. So, and I don't think nobody wants to see Buffalo coming in the playoffs right now, especially the way James Cook running that ball. And it's going to get interesting. And then tomorrow, we definitely going to get into that playoff picture, into the picks for the weekend, because it's a lot of significant games, a lot of teams bundled up, trying to get in the playoffs. And we love it. That's why we watch it. That's why we get excited, because we want to see who going to step up and separate the men for the boys. Sometimes our team don't step up, and they aren't the ones who prevail. But guess what? There's 32 teams in the NFL. It's only one Super Bowl champion. So it's really only one winner. You know, you got to find ways to make yourself feel better. Even if your team lose, you can still be like, hey, there's only one that's going to win. So, hey, we all lost. No matter how far we got, we all lost. Two things can be true. You might have lost early. Somebody might have lost a little later, but only one won. Find the positive. Find the positive and the negative now. Before I get out of here, cover the shout-outs. Shout out Markel. Put together that Alfredo today. Good job, young man. You was like Chef Boyardee in that jump. That thing was smacking. Shout out to Granddad, 94, still kicking. He was the one who taught me about the sports betting stuff. You know the basics, how I go. I lost the bet, you know. He didn't get my money back, you know. So I learned early, you know what I'm saying? You put your money up, you bet, you better know what you're doing, because sometimes it don't feel good to lose that money now. So don't put it on the table if you can't afford to lose it now. I learned that very young. So I got to thank Granddad for that. He holding it down. Peace and love. Coming back to you tomorrow. We're going to talk the NFL playoff picture, some NBA action that's going on tonight, and get y'all some jewels for the weekend. Peace and love.